What's up, y'all? Welcome to Tabletop Bros. This is week 4 of the 2,000 point Warhammer 40,000 Escalation League. My faction is Space Marines, my chapter is Deathwatch. Each week we paint up 250 points, the league is 8 weeks long, and at the end we have 2,000 point army fully painted and ready for big 40k. To start this week's video, here's a look at my 1,000 point list. The Phobos Lieutenant sat this week out again, but don't worry, he'll be back. And I had to leave the Infiltrators out this week as well, but it was worth it. My Warlord is a Watchmaster with Thief of Secrets Enhancement. He's leading 10 Deathwatch Veterans, and the Jump Captain took the Tome of Ectoclades, and was attached to his 5 Assault Intercessors with Jump Pack Bodyguard. I brought the 5 Reavers again, and Old Reliable the Gladiator Lancer was joined by a Repulsor, kitted out with all LAS. Total list was 995 points, and I ended up facing off against Deathwatch in a mirror match. While I tell you about the game, we're going to be making some custom bases. I'm making 4 in total for my future additions. I'm loving the Primaris tank's look and performance so far, so I decided I'll knock out a few more bases all at once. As far as supplies, I'm using a mix of sand from the beach, some little bits of cork, plastic scraps, and Citadel skulls. I'm using some super glue, clippers, and an emery board. A few tufts to finish them off. It's a pretty simple process. I start by outlining the flight stand with pencil so I avoid that area, and just layering bits to match the first one I made and the rest of the army so far. So while we craft some custom Primaris hover tank bases, let me tell you how the 1,000 point week 4 game went. 2 Deathwatch undefeated armies enter, but only one can leave. The other, has got to go. My opponent was rocking some similar selections. A Watchmaster with 5 veterans and Tome of Ectoclades, Captain with 5 veterans as well. He had 5 Deathwatch Terminators with 3 missiles in Deep Strike, led by a Terminator Chaplain. He also bought a Spectrus kill team for some up-down shenanigans, a squad of Las Fusil Eliminators led by a Phobos Librarian so they couldn't be shot outside 12 inches, and our mission was King of the Hill, a battle over one central objective. My opponent got first turn and moved up his veterans into some ruins. The Eliminators fired on my Repulsor and I popped Armor of Contempt to avoid any damage. The Terminator's teleport homer was on the center objective and the ambush was set, or so they thought. I was positioned for an alpha strike, even better after losing first turn. I selected first turn Führer mission tactics for exploding 6s, declared Oath on his captain and kill team, and spent the Tome of Ectoclades Enhancement and went all in on a turn 1 rush. The Tome of Ectoclades. After you have selected an enemy unit using the Oath of Moment ability in your command phase, the bearer can use this enhancement if they are on the battlefield. When they do, select a second enemy unit. Until the start of your next command phase, each time an Adeptus Astartes model from your army makes an attack that targets either of those enemy units, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. My second target was the Watchmaster and his kill team bodyguard. We were 18 inches apart. My jump captain flew forward 12 inches, all but closing the distance. The watch captain disembarked with his 10-man bodyguard kill team, gaining 3 inches of ground. Moved forward another 9 inches with an advance, and with the ability to still declare a charge, 2 average rolls, I'd be in first turn combat with both units and full rerolls. I couldn't get any shots with the tanks or otherwise due to the dense cover of the ruins and the Librarian's cloaking ability, and with the captain squad ready to battle for King of the Hill objective, I charged, smashing into combat, dealing a couple mortal wounds on the charge with the Hammer of Wrath ability. It was up to my Watchmaster and his squad to make the charge, and with a solid 9 rolled, everything was going according to plan. I fought first with the captain and his bodyguard. My opponent's 5-man kill team bodyguard went down easy. The captain scored 3 devastating wounds with his Thunderhammer and killed the enemy Watchmaster without a fight. I consolidated into the nearby Spectrus kill team so they couldn't do any up-down shenanigans, but made sure to stay mostly on the objective for scoring purposes. As I expected him to, my opponent used his 2 command points on counteroffensive, allowing his captain and kill team to interrupt and fight next. Counteroffensive. 1 unit from your army that is within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units and has not already been selected to fight this phase. Effect. Your unit fights next. His Power Fist captain and 5 veterans fell 4 of my kill team, but with all 4 of my Thunderhammers left alive, full hit and wound rerolls, his captain and kill team stood no chance. He rolled poorly on his saves, and the devastating wounds from the hammers killed the squad, including the captain before my Watchmaster could even fight and power up his Thief of Secrets enhancement. Having eliminated my 2 primary targets and taking a strong lead, the Spectrus kill team fought back, thinning the Jump Intercessor bodyguard a bit, but not enough to take the objective. My turn was done. I had spent a lot of resources and was overextended, but off to a great start. eliminating his Watchmaster and Kill Team Bodyguard, as well as his Captain and Kill Team Bodyguard. The Spectre's kill team backed out of combat, and the Terminators and Chaplain descended on the center point. My opponent unleashed a salvo of missiles and las on the repulsor, but the Emperor protects, and it stayed strong. The Terminators unleashed a storm of bolters, further thinning my Watchmaster's kill team, and successful charge from the Terminators would likely spell the end of my Captain, or would it? My opponent rolled high and made the charge without needing a command reroll. My assault intercessors were all dispatched with ease by the Chaplain, and a flurry of power fists struck El Capitan. With 8 invulnerable saves to take, statistically he stood no chance. But fate would shine upon him. Passing 6 of his 8 saves, he would take only 4 damage and survive on 2 wounds remaining, dropping 2 Terminators in retaliation. El Capitan had survived. My second turn began with Oath on the Terminators. The tanks moved up to engage the Terminators with anti-tank firepower, in position to tank shock if need be. The Watch Captain and remaining bodyguards stormed towards the center objective as well. The Captain fell back from combat to leave the Terminators exposed to my firepower. After shooting, the Terminator and Chaplain were no more. The Reavers were now behind enemy lines, and my opponent was all but defeated. The opposition's Deathwatch had been cleansed. The Spectre's kill team slunk into the shadows, and the Eliminators and Librarian disappeared. The Tome of Ectoclades was a powerful relic. Never again would we do battle without this enhancement. As the dust settled, the Captain could be heard, repeating the same hymn over and over. He who allows the alien to live, share in its crime of existence. Battle after battle, the Deathwatch would have to cleanse their brothers, but none more deserving of the Black Spear's wrath than other Deathwatch. No doubt the Inquisition would hear of this heresy. So after 4 weeks of battle and over 1,000 points of Deathwatch built and painted, we had reached the halfway point and I was sitting at 4-0. With 4 weeks remaining and some tough opponents ahead of us, I knew that the path to victory and remaining undefeated would not be easy. But with some more Primaris hover tank bases completed, no doubt some more armor would be joining the ranks. If you enjoyed today's hobby video and the Escalation League game recap, hopefully by now Tabletop Bros have earned your subscription. But regardless, make sure to tune in next week for some more excitement. But in the meantime, that's it from the Tabletop Bros. Later!